Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. Man, do I got a fun one for you today. We're getting to drive yet another one of my friend Nino's cars. The newest in his collection, in his arsenal of cars. That's right, you are looking at a Dodge Demon. You think we're gonna have a little fun with this one today? Hell yes. I'm stoked to get to take this thing for a drive, see what it's about. I've read a lot about it, I've seen a lot of videos on it. I can't wait to feel what this power's like, man. I'm just stoked that this is gonna happen today. So for all of us, all I can say is hold on, man, because here we go. All right, you guys, here we go for a ride in my friend Nino's 2018 Dodge SRT Demon. This is the killer. This is the car that has eclipsed everything in the production car market. Fastest ever. So let's go over some of the details. There's a ton of specs available on this car. Number one, this car, everybody's quoting 840 horsepower, which it does have the simple capability to make it that. But this car from the dealer starts as an 808 horsepower car, which is substantial. 101 horsepower more than its predecessor, the Hellcat. But put 100 octane in this car and flash the ECU, and now you've got 840 horsepower in a bone stock production car. This car, leave it to my buddy Nino, he's already had the ECU flashed. Currently it's running pump gas, but this car sometime soon here, he's promised we're putting 100 octane in it, getting the 840, and we're gonna go see if we can do some wheelies in it. Yes, you probably know by now, it's a known fact that this car will lift the front end off the ground if you get a proper launch. 0 to 60, it beats all-wheel drive cars like the McLaren 720S. It beats the 918 Porsche, which uses hybrid technology and it uses all-wheel drive. This car beats that in an old school approach. Front engine, 2 rear wheel drive. And I tell you what, cruising like I am right now, it feels like a big heavy Dodge Challenger, but you start digging into the technology on this and what they did, suspension alone, to preload the rear when you're in drag mode so that this thing squats and digs into the ground to get you maximum amount of hookup to get you the best launch possible. Dodge's claim is this car can hit 9.65 in a quarter mile. It's so fast that it was banned from the NHRA. That's how fast it is. I think that's a pretty solid claim to fame right there. 0 to 60, if you get a killer launch, you're going to get somewhere around 2.3 seconds. I was scrolling through the data on here, which I'm sure Nino understands and has looked through himself. Without even trying, my guess is, knowing him, was probably getting on a freeway on-ramp and stood on it. He hit an 11.6 quarter mile. An 11.6 at 133 miles an hour. This is a production car, you guys. Drag racers have built and built and worked and worked and worked to create this level of power. For years, it was creating a 10-second car was a big deal. Now, you can go out in a bone stock car if you have some skill set with this thing, because the technology it runs deep on here. It's not as easy as just put your foot in it and you're gonna make a sub 10-second quarter mile. Far from it. There's a combination that you have to go through to get this thing into drag mode. It has, from the factory, line lock on it. So a combination of the paddles and the shifter, and you're set up to go into a line lock mode. You can actually set what RPMs you think is your most optimal launch point. You know, another brilliant piece of technology they did on this car, something you run into, is heating up the engine. That becomes an issue, especially if you're doing multiple passes. What this car does is it uses the air conditioning system to cool the engine. pull up to any local drag race where you've got street cars running, a lot of times you're going to see guys throwing ice packs on their motor to try to cool it before the next run. This car, leave it running and turn the air conditioning on and it's going to cool itself. Now, you'll notice there's really some amazing details on the exterior of the car. You've got the obvious wide body, you've got the flares making it a couple inches wider than any other Challenger to give it the obvious look. You've got massive, street legal, barely, drag tires on here. If you run these tires on the car, you actually have to sign a waiver to run these. You'll also notice on the entire exterior of the car, it does not say Demon anywhere. You've got the Demon emblems, but as far as any badging, it's an SRT. There was 3,300 made, 300 to Canada, 3,000 to the US. And that's it. This car will be a collectible. If you question that one, look up the 2005, 2006 Ford GT, and you'll find that they made 3,400 of those cars, 100 more than this one, and that's obviously a highly collectible car. Some other accent points I think are very cool and very unique to this car versus the other Challengers, the Hellcat or its lesser powered cars, is the front splitter on this thing is massive. I mean, it's gigantic. You could use that as a step up to see what's going on under the hood. And what's going on under the hood is a lot. You can't help but notice the massive blower right away, the gigantic open air intake. And this thing's all about getting air in. The hood scoop is massive, the biggest ever produced on a production car, once again, creating enough airflow into the engine, it would fill somewhere around 800 human beings' lung. That's a lot of air coming into the engine. You'll notice on the headlights, there's two on each side, but the two outside lights are your actual headlights. The two inner lights, although they do light up, those are intakes, again, getting more air into the supercharger because it needs to breathe to produce the power it produces. God, this thing sounds incredible too. It's just amazing to think that this is a bone stock car. As a matter of fact, I think the only thing that Nino's done as far as any accent pieces anywhere that are not stock on this car is he changed the rear wing to a carbon fiber wing. Oh, we got a little room. Wow. Wow. God, this car is fast. Heart pumping kind of stuff. Quickly, man. Just impressive. Totally impressive. The big flat screen here to give you great visibility of all your additional gauges, because this thing gives you a ton of information. It lets you know your boost pressure, your intercooler coolant temp, your air to fuel ratio, your trans temp. I mean, really, it gives you, this car gives you a lot of information. Dodge definitely went with one purpose in mind when they built this car. They wanted to make a fast, straight line car, and they nailed it. Nailed it with this thing. I mean, to think, the cost is pretty extraordinary on this. They say 86 grand, but you're not getting one at 86 grand. With dealer markups, this is a $100,000 car. For an additional $1, you can add or remove the rear seat. Nino added in the factory cage for this, which I think is really a cool idea. I mean, this car deserves the cage, and it allows you to actually run at the higher speeds and the higher times. Along with the Demon crate that comes with this thing, you get the front drag tires, the skinnies up front. You get a Demon branded floor jack. I mentioned the tires before. What I might not have mentioned about the tires is that this thing currently is on a square setup. 315s all the way around on this car, and they're sticky, man. These are super gooey, sticky tires meant to hook up and go. That being said, I'm about to put this baby back in the shop and introduce you guys to my buddy Nino. Nino's become a good friend over the last few months. It's a guy that's worked his butt off for a lot of years. I'm really stoked for you guys to finally meet him because he's let us shoot a lot of cars over the last couple months. Now today, getting to shoot his Demon. So you guys have heard the legend of Nino. You've seen me drive a lot of Nino's cars, but this is the legendary Nino.
Hello, everybody.
Obviously, we're dealing with the Demon, man, and it's my first experience with the Demon. It's your newest car in your arsenal of cars.
Yes.
Are you in love?
I'm getting in love. I'm getting in love because there's a lot of other vehicles that they're bringing in my hand for a long time, but this is something very, very special.
Yeah, and I love your color choice, dude. I love that, you know, I mean, there's a lot of other choices that seems like what people are opting towards, but that you went with this green it's such a cool color.
Yes.
It's unique. Like I haven't seen another one yet.
Well, it's just not too many, that's what I hear, about 250 in this color.
Right. So I noticed on there, by the way, your best quarter mile time, and I know you haven't even done drag mode yet.
Nope.
But you've managed to pull an 11.6 quarter mile at 133 miles an hour. Did you know you did that?
I didn't even know that happened. It's so unpredictable in this car that you not even know.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Yeah. No, a light step on the gas and you're, I mean, I was quickly just on these little side streets here, 75, 80 miles an hour in a blip. I mean, a couple of seconds, you're up over 70 miles an hour.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Really cool, man.
Yeah.
I was wrong, by the way, you guys. I kept saying this is a bone stock car other than the rear wing on it, which you've gone to the carbon wing.
Yes.
But I was wrong. You've actually done some exhaust on this.
We did exhaust, we just cancel the muffler and then we just go straight in it.
I know it's loud enough that I noticed like some of my different neighbors were starting to walk out onto the street here to see what was going on and who was the idiot racing.
We can hear from here. Yes.
You know, brother, I mean, it's just a massive thanks. I mean, you have so many cool, unique, really very unique cars. Your choices are really cool, and I just appreciate, dude, that you've let me drive them and, you know, let the people that watch the channel get to experience your cars, and you do it just so generously. It's just, I really appreciate it, bro.
It was a new experience for me too.
Yeah.
I really like the way that we met, and you've been doing this, and I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank you, man. Cool.
We'll be friends forever.
Right? Awesome. All right, you guys. So what do you think, man? That is the Dodge Demon. And you finally get to meet my friend Nino today, right? I mean, you guys have heard about this guy for such a long time. I mean, the last few months, we've driven multiple of his cars. I'm stoked that Nino finally broke away from work for a few minutes and got on camera with us. But what an extraordinary car, man. I mean, I gotta admit, I thought this was just muscle. I thought that's all this car was gonna be, was just Dodge muscle. But it's so much more. There's so much technology involved in this car. Thoroughly blown away by it. Couple of corrections that I got to throw in for you was I thought the cage on here was a factory option cage. Far from it. This is a full custom cage made for this car with quick release on it on the side. So for old guys like me, if I don't feel like crawling in and out there, I can just pop that thing open. But I'm just thoroughly blown away. The Demon is everything that it's been reviewed to be. Extraordinarily fast, really comfortable when you're just cruising in it. It's a Challenger, man. It's just a comfortable cruising car. But I mean, you put your foot in it, you feel the ass end of this thing drop and the front end lift. This car squats, digs in, and goes. I'm just totally blown away right now. Once again, a massive thank you to my friend Nino for letting us shoot yet another one of his cars and letting me drive him, man. So anyhow, you guys, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for hanging and watching and supporting what we're up to. You know I appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. All right, man. Later.